Hello, welcome to Cerulean Arts Gallery. Tonight we're speaking with Anne Marble in conjunction with her Cerulean Arts Collective Exhibition, which is on now through May 4th. Hello, Anne.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here tonight.
Happy to be here.
So please tell us about yourself and your new show.
It's as we were talking about a little earlier, it's always hard to talk about your own art because it's so personal. Um, and I've always had that feeling I'm trying to get over it, and I'm here, so I've at least accomplished that. But first of all, I've always felt a little shy because I am not a product of an art school. I'm self-taught and I'm a biologist at heart. Um, but you could probably see that in my work. I've I have been an artist all my life, since the age of 4. That was the mark when I drew a fish for my father and he put it up in his office. That was my first showing. But so that's my way of coming into art. And as a scientist, I realized that experimentation is always sort of part of my process. I really like to figure out how to do something. I get something in my mind and I want to execute it. And it often doesn't come out the way it is in my mind. It comes out better. Sometimes not always better, but it's always surprising what comes out because you with art you don't know. With science, you're trying to predict an absolute truth, and not so with art. So, I've really enjoyed this. It's very freeing for my left hand brain, and which I realize I have been all my life. What you're seeing here now is a continuation of what I started basically back in the pandemic, working with different kinds of paper pulp, and drying it and seeing what I can do with it. It's it's amazing to me. Um, I learned that paper pulp, there's as many kinds of paper pulp as there are plants. Every plant that has cellulose in it, which is every plant, um, can be used to make paper. This one that we're looking at here is kozo fiber. I can't remember exactly where kozo comes from, but this is the actual fiber, not the pulp that get you can pull apart, and Tina, you're getting a great look at it. It's it's very organic and stringy, and I will admit very difficult to work with. I've shown a couple of other pieces like this, but not quite so, for lack of a better term, ragged looking. I like that look. It kind of shows off the intent of the fiber itself. Um, and I intend to go back to it. Then the one next to it is quite a comparison. It's much more contained. It's the base is chicken wire, as you can maybe see the shapes that are coming through. And I dipped it again in pulp, this time abaca pulp, which is from banana fibers. And a lot of the pulps that I use are called high shrinkage pulp, which when they dry, they shrink and they pull apart and they make holes and connections that you can't plan on. And I like that. It speaks to me that in that sense that we don't know where things are going to go. We can plan and strategize, but in the end, the thing makes up its own mind. And you can decide to like it or just put it in a pile with other things that you don't like. So those are those two pieces. Um, these are very different from each other. And I happen to like both of them. This one on the bottom is called Accordion. It's again made out of abaca pulp on string with that was sewn together in panels. And this is a really good example of how the pulp stretches when it dries. This was one sheet, solid sheet, when I laid it down wet, and this is what it became, hanging on to the strings for the backbone, you might say. So it was a tough piece to make, but I was excited by it, and of course, I want to do more similar pieces. The piece above it is, as I say, very different, but it's also made from paper, paper pulp. In this time, it is a cotton linter, which is uh, the beginning of the cotton processing. Uh, so it's very fine. And what you see in here is knit wire that has rusted, and on top of it is knit string. And I just had the idea that I would put it down on a piece of styrofoam and put some throw fiber on top of it, cotton fiber, and see what happened. And this is it. And I will say this is the best piece of the ones that I made. The other ones are stockpiled. Um, I just want to be honest as an artist how it happens. But I think this one, if I don't say so myself, really takes takes me to another place. It's called Artifact, and the way it dried was just the way it wanted to dry. I had an idea about what it might turn out to be, but I I let it happen. And so I just peeled it off the styrofoam and there we go. Um, I've been lucky to have some very, very good teachers in my life. And these are two different styles of work that come from the stimulation of two different teachers. Excuse me. The one in the middle is a continuation of the string and fiber. It's just much larger. And it's iridescent, which I think was fun because there is a glow. It also, and the iridescence also reacted with the fiber in a way that I wasn't sure I liked at first. It made it made it kind of wrinkly. But I think that kind of is another look. That's part of the examination and the fun of art. You don't know what's going to happen. At least I don't. I maybe other people have a very solid plan, and I have nothing against that. But this is what really does it for me. Um, the hemispheres on either side of it. I was lucky enough to do a residency in Iceland this summer. And these are hollow paper spheres. They're actually very thin and are the pigments are earth pigments from Iceland. It's all lava derived. You can see the black, which is of course untainted lava. And then, oh, it's not lava, all of it that's lichen in there, the green. And then the reddish is from a geyser. We collected work from a geyser. Let me just reference the we part. This is a group of women I met in Dresden, and we were all paper artists, and we decided to go on a residency together. And one is from Norway, one is from was from Iceland, the other from Italy, and another from Austria, and then me. So uh, it was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot from each other. This one is called Fissures. You can see the inspiration from where I was. The earth is cracking apart and falling apart and exploding into different forms. And around the edge is actual lava that I collected on the beach and rubbed into the paper when it was still wet. These, again, are all made out of paper, wet paper. So the red is connotes the fire, but also sort of the bleeding of the earth. And it's very irregular, which is what the earth is like. So yeah, this is, if you were to pick this up, it weighs about an ounce. It's not, it's hollow. And then the other two on the right side of that are a continuation of the series. The one on top, or that you're looking at now, Tina, or this one I made when I got home because I didn't have the pigments I needed to express the fire part of Iceland. And there was a volcano that was erupting at that time, and it was very dramatic. And Iceland, if you have been there, lucky you, it's an amazing place. And it's very rugged and very earthy. It's a little continent that is evolving before your eyes. And so this is what I wanted to show is the fissures and the redness of it. This one, same thing, fissures, snow. There was snow when we were there, glaciers. Um, Lichen was everywhere. It's one of the few things that'll grow. Um, so we had fun just collecting whatever was there and trying to make a pigment out of it. Well, it wasn't always successful. We got some pretty stinky, smelly stuff when we tried to make things from plants. I think we just didn't know what we were doing, but that was fun too. So there's a couple more of these hemispheres out in the hall that we'll get to later. Um, but this is a collective ode to Iceland. And this again is a similar piece to the one you saw before. It's a large piece, and it's painted this time with an iridescent pigment, and it was meant to kind of give more dimensionality to the piece, which you can see the shadows are part of the piece just as much as the physical pieces are part of the structure. So I like that you hang it up on the wall and it becomes complete. And again, you don't know what you're going to get until you hang it up on the wall when it's finished. So that's very exciting. Um,
And how did you get to paper in the first place? What is it that it attracts you as opposed to more other traditional sculpture materials like clay and stuff?
yeah, clay clay was an option for sure. I think, you just fall into things. During the pandemic, I I was looking for sort of a new path. Having been a printmaker and working with paper, and dimensional paper, this was an easy um, tangent for me to take. Uh, and this is a knit piece, actually. You can see how it's knit, and it's kind of very odd, and I like it a lot. And it's been dipped in a lot of different colors. Um, so anyway, I continued with my impulse with paper since the beginning of the pandemic, and I just haven't stopped. Um, and I keep thinking of more and more projects I want to do. I hope I live long enough. Uh, I don't think artists ever get to the point where they're out of ideas. So yeah, that looks sort of like a clam. What did I call that? Do you know? I can't remember.
Um,
Clamshell?
Oracle.
Sorry? Oracle.
Oracle.
Okay. That's another mystery how these names come out sometimes. So
Well,
yeah,
they are evocative.
sorry.
The titles are evocative.
Thank you. I That's sort of what I wanted because the pieces themselves are. I mean, I don't like to nail down a piece with a title. I like to let it so if somebody reads the title, they're not thinking of something before they look at it. Having been to so many exhibitions in my life, I always look at the title, and sometimes I'm disappointed when I do. I realize I've changed my mind about the piece and what has attracted me, but it's not always bad. But I know titles are very, to me, disconcerting. Anyway, this is another Iceland piece. You can see the lichen in it. You can see the lava and the earth pigments that we collected, and the white, which is evocative of the snow. Um, and the way it wrinkled is very much like the landscape. It's a wrinkly, evolving landscape. Uh, so I felt like this this hemispheres were sort of representing uh, a continent, part of the world. Um, so they're three-dimensional, but not fully. Um, I really enjoyed doing these, and I brought them back from Iceland since they're hollow. I could stack them, and all but one of them made it. Here's the final one, which again is paper and lava, which I rubbed into the wet paper, and more earth pigments, and various incisions that I made into the wet paper. Together, they are meant to evoke a feeling of another place. Um, and that's what Iceland really was for me. Oh, there's another one I forgot. Um, this one actually is one of my favorites because it it really looks like plate tectonics. Um, it the some of these pieces are kind of floating over the other pieces. And again, the local plants and fibers made up the tints, except for the blue. I will confess to using a watercolor for that. Bad on me, but there we go. I want I needed a blue. Um, and there is a lot of water there. It's surrounded by water. So I don't know how you do a water pigment from water. If I knew, I would have done it. But there we go. And this to me is recalls the origins of, well, the whole world, the tectonics, the plate tectonics. So they're we have it. Is there another one? I may have forgotten. I thought there were seven. Maybe there are more. Maybe they're less.
It's this is the last one.
Oh, good. So, yeah, they were very difficult to make. Um, and I'm not sure I will continue on this series. If I do, I'll think of another way to support them because that was hard to do, as Michael knows. Um,
Little bit of last minute adjustment.
yeah. The thing about this paper art is that it's every single piece has to be mounted in accordance with what it is. I kind of miss my printmaking days when I could print everything on a flat sheet, take it into the framer, and then go pick it up a couple weeks later. And this is not that. I spend as much time mounting pieces as I do making them sometimes. But that's part of, you might say, the engineering of it. And mostly I enjoy it. Sometimes it's a terrible challenge.
Well, it worked. It all worked out. So,
It did, thanks to you.
well, it's a wonderful show, and it's up through May 4th. We hope people come down and check it out. And everything's also available on our website, ceruleanarts.com. And thanks again for being here and have a great night.
Thank you for having me.